Good evening, everyone, and welcome to you all. Thank you so much for coming to tonight's reading. A special welcome to everyone who's joining us online, and a very special welcome to all the Smith students who stepped out of the glorious sunlight of Mountain Day to be here tonight, too. So thank you. Yes. I hope you all had a really lovely Mountain Day, and I'm glad you're capping things off with our reading tonight. Is everyone here ready to hear Gabrielle Calvocoressi read us some poems? Yes. I will do my best in that case to get off the stage soon, but as always, I have some announcements and thank yous before we get going, especially because this Gabby is kicking off the entire season of our poetry reading series, so I wanted to say a few words. So my name is Matt Donovan. In case you don't know, I'm the director of the Boutelle-Day Poetry Center, and I have the pleasure of welcoming back to campus this evening two of my favorite poets. Gabrielle Calvocoressi first came to campus in 2023 to deliver a talk on queerness in Mary Oliver's poem. I hope some of you can still find it online. It is such a blissful talk and discussion, happened right here in this room. And then we first hosted Leila Chatti for a reading in 2022, which ended up leading to her serving as Smith's 2023 Conkling Poet in Residence. It is an absolute thrill to not only have them back on campus, but sharing the stage for conversation this evening. And it just seems like extraordinary good fortune for all of us. And it's that idea of gratitude that I really want to underscore tonight. Like many of you, I imagine, I've been leaning hard on poetry to help me through the past 9 months. And the poet Dana Levin calls poetry an endurance technology. And that's a phrase that I really love. And toward that end, I've been seeking out poems as an alternative to the many ways in which language these days is being used as a weaponized means of fear-mongering and obfuscating truth and justifying hate and atrocities. But I also don't want to confine the experience of tonight's event or any reading this year through the lens of what poetry is not. This evening, we've come together to hear poems that explore grief and resilience, as well as the body and identity and joy, while perhaps celebrating dumplings in the process too. And I just want to hold space for feeling grateful for all of that in itself. Gabby is the kind of person and poet who believes that we can all be ambassadors of the imagination, and that, as they said in a recent interview, is one necessary ingredient, and that, as they said in a recent interview, one necessary ingredient for a healthy community is creating a space for rigorous compassion. I vote for that, and for all the ways in which poetry might inch us closer to that. So Gabby and Leila, thank you so much for being here, and I'm so excited for both the reading and your conversation. So here's how tonight will work. Leila will introduce Gabby, and following Gabby's reading, they'll have a conversation up here on stage, and then following that discussions, both Leila and Gabby will be signing books right over there at the purple tablecloth. I definitely have some thanks to offer for folks who made tonight possible as well. As we kick off the season, I want to thank all of our many alums and donors, as well as the Tamis Day Foundation for their ongoing support of the Boutelle-Day Poetry Center. Your generous contributions and donations are what make this programming possible. I want to thank our co-sponsors for tonight, the Office of Equity and Inclusion, the Study of Women, Gender, and Sexuality in the Department of English Language and Literature. I want to offer a huge thank you to Jen Blackburn, the Poetry Center's, yay! The Poetry Center's program manager and outreach coordinator for all of her countless hours spent getting this year's seasons off the ground. In addition, I want to officially welcome and thank the Boutelle-Day Poetry Center's core interns, Sadie McCrae and Natasha Butler-Rahman, for all of their hard work helping to organize and promote this event and all our upcoming events for the rest of the year. I want to thank Tom Kleitis, hi Tom, as always for streaming our readings this year and making sure that we can get our poets' work out to an even wider audience. I definitely want to thank Northampton's own independent bookseller, Broadside Books, and especially Roz at Broadside Books. for selling books at all of our events this year. And we're so lucky to have such an incredible bookshop right here in Northampton. Both of these extraordinary poets with us tonight have brand new books from Copper Canyon Press. Leila's new book, Wildness Before Something Sublime, was published earlier this month. Wrong, I thought I made sure I had it in my hand. Leila's new book, Wildness Before Something Sublime, as you can see in my right hand here, was published earlier this month. Did I do it again? I'm gonna just keep rolling. And now, I don't have Leila's book with me. I'm gonna, hold on. I grabbed the wrong book off the shelf, and here's the worst part of what just happened. Leila's gonna give me grief about this for the rest of the time. I know. So Leila Chatti has an amazing new book out. I love this book so much. I do love this book so much. It is available for sale in the back. I'm kicking off the year right. And then, meanwhile, Gabby's new book, The New Economy, is not available for another 2 weeks. It's officially released on October 14th. So imagine all the bragging rights you will have if you're walking down the street and your neighbor sees you holding this 2 weeks before it's even released. So both of these books are available in the back. Here they are. Look how I nailed it. These collections, they're so gorgeous, they're so beautiful, they're so profound. I cannot recommend both of them enough. So please do yourself a favor if you can. You could think about picking up both copies, and they'll be, again, right down here, signing copies of the books. And also, if you're not able to buy a copy of the book, but you just want to say hi or you just want to say thank you, and just come up afterwards. Poets love hearing from folks, so feel free to just say hello to both Gabby and Leila afterwards as well. We also have postcards in the back on the intern table of Gabby's work. So feel free to pick that content up as well. We've got stickers and things. And if anyone is here, who's not on our mailing list, you can scan a QR code in the back too and just make sure that you are updated with all of the events coming up for the rest of our season and through the spring. And then also my English 112 class. So this is the first time we've done this since it's our first reading of the year. But as I said in the email, as I've announced in class, so the QR codes will just be posted after the reading and after the conversation. They'll be on the 2 back doors and over here too. And in case you have, all you have to do is scan those QR codes and you'll be marked as present. If you have some sort of technical glitch, you can see either me or Nicole, our TA, and they can help you with that. And we'll have a hard copy of the attendance sheet for you to sign as well. It's now my pleasure to introduce Leila Chatti. So as I mentioned, I first met Leila in 2022 when I picked her up at the airport for her reading at Smith, and immediately afterwards completely forgot where I'd parked my car. If you've ever wandered an airport garage with someone for 3 to 4 days, you know it can be a really good time to get to know someone and know that they are the kind of poet that you want to get back to campus and see as much as possible, no matter the amount of grief they dish out at you for things like not having their book in hand and losing your car. But luckily, eventually found my vehicle and managed to get Leila back to campus. And she gave such an incredibly beautiful reading that night that I'll never forget. Again, Leila, it's such a thrill to have you back. Leila Chatti is a Tunisian-American dual citizen and the author most recently, of course, of Wildness Before Something Sublime, as well as 4 chapbooks and her debut full-length collection, Deluge, which won the 2021 Larry Levis Reading Prize. She is the recipient of a grant from the National Endowment for the Arts, and her work has appeared in many publications, including the New York Times Magazine, Poem-A-Day, Poetry, The Nation, and The Atlantic. She currently teaches in the low residency MFA program at Pacific University and is a provost fellow at the University of Cincinnati, where she lives with her amazing family. Please welcome Leila Chatti.
Hi. This is so good to be back. Oh my gosh. Wow. This is very special. So thank you, Matt. Thank you, Jen. Thank you both interns, wonderful interns. Thank you, Gabby. Thank you all of you for being here on Mountain Day. This is so great. I know what it means. It's exciting. So thank you. Okay. So it's such a privilege to be back here at Smith College, the place that I wrote or got together this book that's back there. That book wouldn't exist without Smith, so thank you. But doubly so for this particular occasion to be here with Gabby. I've tried to keep this introduction short because I, like all of you, would much rather listen to Gabby speak, but I also want to honor the incredible person and poet that Gabby is. So I'll first say just a couple things about them that you should know, and then we'll get to the poems. Okay. Gabby is, without a doubt, one of the most kind, generous, and courageous poets working today. I say working because, yes, perhaps most importantly, Gabby writes, thank God, but they also do so much more than that. Gabby is a teacher, an editor, and thoroughly involved and dedicated literary citizen. They are responsible for bringing so many people to poetry who might otherwise not believe poetry could really be for them, inviting all voices and experiences to the table and the basketball court, and for encouraging and guiding new and emerging poets we desperately need to be reading, including some of my absolute dearest friends. And I say courageous because that word for brave comes from the heart, cœur, which is the source and engine, I think, of Gabby's power. Gabby writes poems of radiant honesty and urgent tenderness. For years, beginning when I myself was a student, I turned to Gabby's books not only to learn how to write poems better, but to learn how to live better too. Gabby and I have shared, and we talked a little bit about this in the car, many similar pains of the body, mind, and heart. But Gabby's work has taught and continues to teach me how to live with pain, to live a riotously abundant and beautiful life that also holds space for the wound. Gabby begins the new economy with this line: "The days I don't want to kill myself are extraordinary." Yes, they are. Here we are, despite everything. It is a wonder to be alive in this world that is at once full of miracles and immense and unthinkable violences. And Gabby is fiercely aware of this. And I couldn't make this up, so I had to note this. The same moment that I wrote that sentence, a text came through on my phone asking for action about gun violence. So this is the truth of our world, thinking about beauty, and then violence shows up. This was the book I needed most to read at this exact moment. When reading, I kept having to pause and put it down because of the immensity of feeling it drew up in me. I told Gabby this too, but I read this book entirely while nursing my daughter, who's the one back there babbling a little bit. I felt such extraordinary tenderness and vulnerability since becoming a mother. And with this new profound and profuse feeling, I have also felt deeply overwhelmed and unmoored by the current terrifying state of the world. There is so much at stake, and so many intent on devastation and destruction. Many times I've asked myself this year, how can I best be of use as a writer, as a person? How can I make this world better, as small and ordinary as I am? This book, though it might not have all the answers, is company in the questioning. In the poem Karma Affirmation Cistern, "Don't be afraid, keep going toward the horror," Gabby writes, "It's okay to feel horribly ashamed. Best not to look away. The gate to joy is past the factory and past the reader, and maybe it's past your last breath on this planet. There's nothing you can do about it. You come from the cistern of brutality and hunger. You are the resonator. Just breathe." Gabrielle Calvocoressi is the author of The Last Time I Saw Amelia Earhart, Apocalyptic Swing, Rocket Fantastic, winner of the Audre Lorde Award for Lesbian Poetry, and The New Economy, currently on the long list for the National Book Award. Whoop, whoop. Calvocoressi was the Beatrice Shepard Blaine Fellow at the Hartford Radcliffe Institute, as well as the recipient of other awards and fellowships, such as the Stegner Fellowship and Jones Lectureship from Stanford University, a Rona Jaffe Women's Writers Award, a Lannan Foundation residency, the Bernard F. Connors Prize from the Paris Review, and a residency from the Civitella de Ranieri Foundation. Calvocoressi is editor-at-large at the Los Angeles Review of Books and poetry editor at Southern Cultures. Calvocoressi teaches at UNC Chapel Hill and lives in Durham, North Carolina. Please join me in welcoming the extraordinary and my dear friend, Gabrielle Calvocoressi.
For so long, and you'll get to like hug them in front of people and say, I love you. Yeah, but people are hugging each other now. You can hug each other. Because like every day, especially right now, is a long journey. Thank you for being on this long journey with me. Yeah. It's Mountain Day! One of these has bubbles and one doesn't. Do we want to take a guess? It's okay to be wrong sometimes. I'll be wrong a lot tonight, which I love. Oh, we're recording, so I really do need to stick close to the mic. Hi, you're doing the camera. I'm Gabby. What's your name? Bob, hi. Tom. One thing is true, poets get it wrong. Thank you, Tom. Oh, my dad's name is Tom, and he's watching. Hi. Yeah. Hi. I am so excited to be here. Last time I was here, I crawled across the stage like a fox. I'm not saying it won't happen again. And I'm so excited to get to read poems, and I'm so excited to be in conversation with Leila. And then we're going to do something a little rogue, right? That we don't do often. We're going to do Q&A. Because, like, why not, right? Like, let's do a little Q&A. I just need to thank everyone so much. Like, I just want to thank you all for being here. I want to thank, like, I've just been taken such deep care of. You know, Matt, thank you. And thank you, Jen. Like, thank you to everyone. Oh my gosh. Sorry, I can't move, but like, thank you for taking such good care of me. I was your first charge of the year. It's going great. But it is, and Leila, like, thank you. There's so many friends here tonight, so many people I love, and one of the things that I've said about this book, like, is that I just want it to be a portal to all of, getting to see all my friends, getting to see all the people I don't know are my friends yet. I'm sure I'll see, like, some of my enemies, too. I'm here for my enemies right now, like, just like opening, right? Like, that's also what we're doing right now. Oh, opening. This portal is like opening. C.A. Conrad is here tonight. I've always wanted to meet C.A. Conrad. Tiana Clark is somewhere. And we've like known each other forever. So I could name and name and name, and I would like to. I woke up at 7 a.m. this morning, 7:30, and there was a picture of a mountain. Matt had sent me a picture of a mountain and said, "It's Mountain Day," which I did not know what Mountain Day was until yesterday. But now, not only do I know what it is, I have a shirt. It was great. I went to the apple orchard. I did not want to die today, and I thank you for it. Hammond B3 organ cistern. The days I don't want to kill myself are extraordinary. Deep bass. All the people in the streets waiting for their high fives and leaping when they see me. I am the sun-filled god of love, or at least an optimistic undersecretary. There should be a word for it. The days you wake up and do not want to slit your throat. Money in the bank. Enough for an iced green tea every weekday and Saturday and Sunday. It's like being in the armpit of a Hammond B3 organ. Just reeks of gratitude and funk. The funk of ages. I am not going to ruin my love's life today. It's like the time I said yes to gray sneakers, but then the salesman said, "Wait." And there, out of the back room, like the bakery's first biscuits, bright blue kicks, iridescent, like a scarab. Oh, who am I kidding? It was nothing like a scarab. It was like bright blue fucking sneakers. I did not want to die that day. Oh my God. Why don't we talk about it? How good it feels. And if you don't know, then you're lucky, but also you poor thing. Bring the band out on the stoop. Let the whole neighborhood hear. Come on, everybody, say it with me nice and slow. No pills, no cliff, no brains on the floor. Bring the bass back. No rope, no hose. Not today, Satan. Every day I wake up with my good fortune and news of my demise. Don't keep it from me. Why don't we have a name for it? Bring the bass back. Bring the band out on the stoop. Hallelujah. This is the first time I'm reading from this book, like by myself, like with people, and I feel very honored to be here at Smith doing it, and who knows what's going to happen. I'm like still figuring it out, and I was like, oh, I'm going to make like this whole, like reading order, and then I was like, let's just like get to know the book. Yeah, like this book is, I think, there's a lot of things this book is about, this idea of like what would be a new economy be? What would that be for us? What would it be for me? How far can I open? But part of that is also like, how much can I like really look at myself? Like how much can I like look at myself? And that is a reckoning. Like many people who grew up in New England, for instance, like I grew up being told that my family had been on the Mayflower and like that was something to be really proud of. I bet there are people in this room who have like that story, right? I will say the person from my family who was on the Mayflower was the first person to fall off. Extremely on brand. But what is it to have that history? What is it to have that history like constantly resonating in you? I think about that. Mayflower cistern, I feel my pilgrim worry. All day long I feel my pilgrim worry, crude and unforgiving as the buckle on my boots. I mark the boundaries of the town, and then I build a fence. I build a pillory and a scaffold. I bring my gun into the forests and my axe inside me. I hurl my brittle body at the pines. I have a plan for them, a way to make them useful, which is God's compact with the world. Whatever does not welcome me, I tear asunder. Whatever welcomes me was mine to sack and bring to my knees. I give the gift of my hunger to everyone, and then I build a fence. The doe is certainly a sorceress. The sparrow was the woman smiling into the mirror of the well. What will I make of this country inside me? My pilgrim huddles in the corner of my heart, which I hate for its hopeful sounding, its unwillingness to know the truth of how broken and beyond salvation it is. Oh, history. It's a workout. I'm so excited we're all here together. This is for Oliver Bayes Bendorf. People like Oliver's poems are so great, and I began writing these miss you poems during the sort of the center of COVID. Although here we are again at the center of COVID, I sort of thought, oh gosh, all these people we miss, all these beings we miss, and many of them have to do with people who have passed away, but also like we just miss people, right? We miss things. I miss Oliver. I want to play basketball with Oliver. Miss you. Would like to shoot some hoops with you. Don't have to be dead for me to miss you. Miss you. Would like to shoot some hoops with you. Ask you to teach me how to shoot buckets with ease. Wish you could show me your layup, your alley-oop, how to tussle without getting hurt. What chain are you wearing? You know I want one too, thick as licorice and gleaming. Wish you could help me be the flyest guy on the court. Don't bring anybody but your own, you're perfect. Wish we could wear matching basketball shorts, high five all the folks on the benches, trash talking bravado. The sun is so in love with us. I'm Greek like Giannis. My sneakers come from Mount Olympus. I'm the fiercest porcupine in the den. Pal, let's drink from bright fountains. Light drips from our stubby chins. Miss you. Barreling down the court, bouncing. Look at us living. Imagine. I almost was going to say we should all shoot hoops today, but it was Mountain Day. But can we shoot hoops another time? I'm terrible at it, but I love it. My perimenopausal body cistern, disappointing. How surprising. Bled all day, stopped bleeding, bled some more, went to the doctor who reached inside the woman body I try to live with, make peace with, but also ignore. Sad tenant, my uterus. One day, the tenant turned out to be my landlord. All day I wonder what it means. Clock I know as well as I know anything, but also never wanted, and also won't give up. In the history of my light body, it will show I could have been another. The shots, the surgeon's blade, that freedom. But I hold on, not out of fear, well maybe, but also this body I fought for. timid skin sack that grew into a kind of magnificence I'd not expected. I tie my bow tie around my neck that's not quite the neck I want, but still, the neck survived. Hours on the floor, begging for my life, bent head crying in the bathroom, bent head walking by the boys, yelling hog and dog and ugly as an animal. It's confusing. I protect the breasts that I live without in my mind's eye. I look for hours at men's trousers and kimonos and bleed all day. My mind says, take it out. And though it's one step closer to one true self I wanted, also, I'd miss it in ways I can't explain. Burnt off scroll. I'm a mirror of a mirror. When I was 8 in daycare, my friends pulled me aside to talk about a sex change. All of us in our Catholic uniforms, Meg, Emily, Nadine, and Brian, who got kicked out because of me. That's later in the story. We drew me in the sand. We planned and wondered how much it cost to be another body. But now, I know my body. I pull up my pants and feel the lack of one thing, as the muffin top reminds me of the persistence of another. Me, who's with me always. This pillow that looks over me, pillow of skin and fat that I'd call Rubenesque. It tried its best to cover me. So I worry over it. Strange companion, this body that covers me and bleeds all day without ceasing. I say, come on. I say, stop. Like I used to when I'd get too scared of one thing or another. God comes back to find me in the most confounding ways. Me and my body, who are often not the same. They just aren't. So part of this book are these things called Lent cisterns. It was 2023. It was when I came here that time. And I had not written in quite some time. And I thought to myself, well, it was around Lent, and I thought, I'm going to give up chocolate for Lent. And then I thought, what would be the hardest thing to give up? And what came to me was self-loathing. And I thought, well, what would it look like to give up self-loathing? And at that point in my life, it was, that would be to write a poem every single day. So I did. I wrote a poem every single day. And then I did this thing, which I really do recommend, which is I didn't look at those poems for a year. I wrote them every single day. The rule was that could be whatever I wanted, and then I didn't look at them for a year. Did you hear the news out of Tennessee, out of North Carolina, I know you know I know. You know, but also I don't think you do. I want to explain it more clearly because you say I live in a cistern of peace. There is no peace in my heart. No march, no brunch, and no party up in the club of my 4 chambers. The amp is nothing but feedback. So I can barely write or dream or lose this weight I meant to lose. My blood pressure's out of control. Did you hear what's up in? They stripped away the bird song. They took the owl out of the oak tree. They took the oak tree too, took my canopy and all the brightness I can muster. Wayne Shorter up and died. I mean, everybody's sick of this earth. God bless every single being that is fighting right now to stay alive. This is from my dear friend Randall Keenan. who passed away. Oh, I love it when I say Randall's name and people go, oh, I miss Randall. Jesse Norman's cistern, time to dress for fall. The best of friends are sure to part one day. I can't remember who said it, but it's true. I wish the little church next door were there in person so I could hear them singing. I really do. I took my light body out to sea and marveled at the white clapboard and the door, the red shingle roofs covered with moss, since no one's here to see it. Dust to dust, or shingle to moss, the chimneys leaning toward the ground. We didn't know if they would like us, me and Angeline, little church next door in North Carolina, Pentecostal. I invited the pastor and his wife to tea, like my grandmother taught me. Turns out we like each other very much. Randall, I was supposed to write another poem, but let's be honest. We know I haven't written in 2 years, or maybe more. I've been trying. I've been taking the bus and listening to Jesse Norman. This is where I'm supposed to acknowledge the pandemic and how long it's been since I've ridden the bus. 2 friends have died in the last 3 weeks, and neither one from COVID. What a stupid sounding word to cram into a poem. One time my grandfather told me how Jesse Norman sang so well that all the cast behind her was crying in, was it Vienna? I was really young. He used to drive me on the tractor while we listened to her singing on the outdoor speakers, and I'd think how nice it would be to be so good at something you'd make everyone stand still and cry. For joy, for wonder, I've been trying what seems my whole life since I stopped writing to describe the feeling of waking up in the darkness to the feeling of my grandmother's mink coat tickling my cheek, her leaning down to kiss me after the 4-hour drive home from the opera. You would not tell me, think about the minks. Though we would, of course, know about the minks. Time passes. If I said, she smelled like Oscar de la Renta, you'd know just what I mean. And I could tell you how I sat behind my grandfather on the tractor listening to Les Troyennes, and you'd know just what I mean. I'd say, what is happening now at the top of my lungs, not knowing French? And my grandfather would say, everyone's dead but the ushers. Or, things are going from bad to worse. His voice rising over the engine, which he'd cut at just the right moment so we could sit in the stillness and listen to her, still alive. Cassandra on the wall, he'd say, and I'd say, what's that? And he'd say, that's when no one will listen. The smell of late autumn grass in my nostrils, I'd rest my head on his back. It must have been a replay or a recording because she sang that in winter, or maybe it's so long I just don't remember right at all. I used to sit on the bus and listen to Jesse Norman before the world got sick. But the world's always been sick, as long as I've known it. I mean, I texted, do you know when she sings that song, The Summer Knows? And you said, I do. I'd wait up as long as I could for her to come and kiss me. But I was always surprised. Little minx, horrible. But also I'd do anything, literally anything, to feel my grandmother kiss me again. I'd say, was she wonderful? And she'd say, we'll tell you in the morning. I miss everyone and feel so lonely. It's like an empty opera house inside me, like all the chandeliers just shattered on the floor. I figured I'd just speak plainly. It's time to dress for fall. Oh, and it is fall. Oh, Randall Keenan. Jesse Norman, do people know who Jesse Norman is? Great opera singer. She's passed away, but I have an epigraph from her on the second part of the book, and she just says, I want to keep learning, keep exploring, keep doing more. Me too, Jesse Norman. Should we bring some more ghosts in, just for the heck of it? Yeah! Oh wait, who's in the ghost club? Me too. Like we could do it right now. Like we could just we could all just for a second think about a being that we miss. It doesn't have to be a human. It could be an animal, it could be a tree, it could be those minks, it could be you want to just sit for a minute and think about it? Like I miss. And then maybe the portal would shimmer. We could all really just be together. I say this sometimes, but would I want my grandmother to come back from heaven? I mean, she worked really hard her whole life to get to heaven. And probably if I did ask her to come back, she would, so I won't. I mean, kind of I would. But I would literally, if we could just look at each other for a second, you know that feeling? So there's some empty seats here because it's Mountain Day. And probably lots of other reasons too. But could we just we could fill the room with everybody? Oh, you feel it? No joke. Yeah. This is for my dear friend Jenny Tonpahot, who passed away during COVID, but not of COVID. We had a lot of people that did that, and it somehow felt even more shocking. This is also we ate this delicious tofu tonight. Where did we go? Tea Root? We had good tofu. It's for Jenny Tonpahot. Miss you. Would like to grab that chilled tofu that we love. Do not care if you only bring your light body. Would just be so happy to sit at the table and talk about the menu. Miss you. Wish we could bet which chilies they'll put on those cubes of tofu, our favorite. Sometimes green, sometimes red. Roasted, we always thought, but so cold and fresh. How did they do it? Wish you could be here to talk about it like it was so important. Wish you could. Watched you on the screens as I was walking, as I was cooking. Wished you could get out of the hospital. Can't bring myself to order our dish and eat it in the car. Miss you laughing. Miss you coming in from the cold and one too many meetings, laughing. I'll order already. I'll order 7 helpings, some dumplings, those cold yam noodles that you like. You can come in your light body or skeleton or be invisible. I don't even care. No, you have a long way to travel. No, I don't even know if it's long at all. Wish you could tell me what you're reading. If you're reading, miss you. I'm at the table in the back. Tom, do you think that ghosts can see us through that camera? I don't know. That's one of those things a person doesn't want to say out loud. But Tom, I think you're right. Not in this climate. Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Dad. I spent a lot of my life sitting in church with both my mother and my grandmother. And I spent a lot of time looking at Christ on the cross and thinking a lot. I don't know if other people had this like that. Just I spent a lot of time meditating on that when I was young. It took me so long in my adult life to realize I just spent so long staring at a young man being tortured. Really, just meditating on that, but without thinking about it that way. I'm sure there are people who do, but maybe it's being 50, I don't know. Hawk Song Cistern. I think about him on the cross. I did when I was little too, but then not until this moment when hawks sung outside my winter window. Heard it in passing, loud, right in the middle of the pane, then fading off past the steeple of the first church. I'm not sure why it made me think of him, who I believe was him, though no more of God than all of us. Too much pain, probably, to have heard a hawk song, too much fear and calling out. Somehow, when the bird flew past, I wondered, was it sunny like today is? So bright, and me with a little cold, which has my mind wandering. It smells like winter, but outside, spring's blanket drapes all over me. How far could I reach my arms out? How much could I bear? And would I hear the hawk that flew past me? That poor young man. The things we watch our whole life. Oh, it's so heavenly to be here with you. I think it's almost time to end and talk together. I can't tell you what it's like for this to be this book's birthday. Miss you. Would like to take a walk with you. Do not care if you arrive in just your skeleton. Would love to take a walk with you. Miss you. Would love to make you shrimp saganaki like you used to make me when you were alive. Love to feed you. Sit over steaming bowls of pilaf, little roasted tomatoes covered in pepper and nutmeg. Miss you. Would love to walk to the post office with you. Bring the ghost dog. We'll walk past the waterfall and you can tell me about the after. Wish you would come back for a while. Don't even need to bring your skin sack. I'll know you. I know you'll know me, even though I'm bigger now, grayer. I'll show you my garden. I'd like to hop in the leaf pile you raked, but if you want to jump in, I'll rake it for you. Miss you. Standing, looking out at the river with your rake in your hand. Miss you in your puffy blue jacket. They're hip now. I can bring you a new one if you'll only come by. No, I told you it was okay to go. No, I told you it was okay to leave me. Why'd you believe me? You always believed me. Wish you would come back so we could talk about truth. Miss you. Wish you would walk through my door. Stare out from the mirror. Come through the pipes. I already read this poem once, but I just think it's sometimes worth to read a poem twice. Because I really feel this way about you all and tonight. But also because poems change, you know? Just like we change. Hammond B3 organ cistern. The days I don't want to kill myself are extraordinary. Deep bass. All the people in the streets waiting for their high fives and leaping. I mean, leaping when they see me. I am the sun-filled god of love, or at least an optimistic undersecretary. There should be a word for it. The days you wake up and do not want to slit your throat. Money in the bank. Enough for an iced green tea every weekday and Saturday and Sunday. It's like being in the armpit of a Hammond B3 organ. Just reeks of gratitude and funk. The funk of ages I am not going to ruin my love's life today. It's like the time I said yes to gray sneakers, but then the salesman said, wait. And there, out of the back room, like the bakery's first biscuits, bright blue kicks, iridescent, like a scarab. Oh, who am I kidding? It was nothing like a scarab. It was like bright blue fucking sneakers. I did not want to die that day. Oh my God. Why don't we talk about it? How good it feels. And if you don't know, then you're lucky, but also you poor thing. Bring the band out on the stoop. Let the whole neighborhood hear. Come on, everybody, say it with me nice and slow. No pills. No cliff. No brains on the floor. Bring the bass back. No rope. No hose. Not today, Satan. Every day I wake up with my good fortune and news of my demise. Don't keep it from me. Why don't we have a name for it? Bring the bass back. Bring the band out on the stoop. Hallelujah. It is such a gift being here with all of you, and I can't wait for us to talk. And I just want to say one reason I also like to read like those poems, that poem beginning and ending, is that nobody gets to tell us what our beginning and our end is. Nobody gets to do that for us. And also, we're a circle. And thank you for like being in the circle with me. Should we all talk? Yeah.
Leila, this is your water. You can sit wherever you want, but that's your water. What?
What are we going to talk about? We're going to talk a little bit, but then will you all ask some questions? Yes! You haven't told. I think you said we had. Should I crawl across to Leila like a fox? It's different when I'm not talking about Mary Oliver. So let me ask you some questions about your poems.
That's like, get off the stage. All right. I have a lot of questions. Okay.
Well, can I start?
Your show. Yeah. No, what's happening?
What are we doing?
Do I do this?
Oh, we have
Grabbing? Okay. Wait, why is this so?
Hello.
Hello. Ooh. Oh, Mountain Night.
Wow. But can I start? People have heard enough from me.
No.
I mean, we're going to want to talk. But can I just, like, I was thinking that we're so lucky to be here and be together. And I was struck by the thing you said about us having like many things in common. And I think we do. And I was wondering if I could start. I know we're both going to talk, but the whole time I was reading, I was just thinking about, and I said this to you today, like you write these poems that are so deeply rooted, like in the day-to-day, but also like have this kind of lyric possibility and compassion and muscularity that like just like make them timeless at the same time. And so I think my first question is, are you a time traveler? But also like, do you know what I mean about that in your poems? Like, they manage to be like everywhere at once, and yet like they are so here. And like, how do you do that?
Wow. What a generous thing to say. I don't know if I think I probably am traveling in time, like in my dreams. And I do think there is something actually like culturally about dreaming and, time. But I think so much of what I'm thinking about is like suffering, but also the ways that suffering unites us and is timeless. Like, I'm not the first person to have lived these pains, and I won't be the last, but I'm trying to add my little pinprick of awareness, alertness, attention to the conversation. Yeah, I think some of it is also maybe a little dissociative. I think that
totally.
pain makes you zoom out and zoom in, and I think I'm kind of always doing that a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Like one understands the mystics when one
Mystics.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just like that kind of
What an honor.
Hmm.
Well, I want to talk to you a little bit about something kind of mysticky,
Ooh.
if that's okay.
Oh,
but
I'm
also
always here for
rounded.
the mystic. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Can people also see? I have a visual disability, and so I want to be aware. Are people able to like? Is this? Can you hear? Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So, so there's this recurrence, right, in your book about the idea of the light body, which I love. The flesh body shed for what I'm thinking of as I was reading, of sort of one with no baggage or expectations, is how I read that. And at the end of one poem, you make clear a separation, and you read this poem, me and my body, who are often not the same. And one of the burdens, which might not be the right word, that's done away with is gender. And so one of my favorite lines is also one that's extremely painful, where you write of the boys who were tormenting you. The boys called me sir, but not in a way that made me feel debonair, which you are very debonair. So let me heal that if I can.
Peel that grape.
There's also many references to illness and physical pain and illness and symptoms that are complicated in their gendered associations. And this idea, one of the similarities I think we have is this, of wanting to escape the sick body, is one that I strongly relate to, but also the complexities of its intersection with gender. And I noted too, there's references to weight and shame, which don't have to be gendered, but also very much can be. So I was thinking about the body is, of course, very personal. So I don't want to overstep in any way.
Oh no, I'm here.
But as much as you feel comfortable sharing, I wondered if you might share a little bit about this idea of the light body, which is at once, the body being something that's so grounded and light being something that's not, and how you came to it, and perhaps the significance behind the word light, which is something that is both brightness, but also means to be unburdened or not heavy. And so there's so much in that I loved and was really interested in.
I love this. Isn't it like it's the most remarkable thing to be like read so generously and so beautifully? I feel very blessed. Yeah, I mean, so the light body was like this term and this idea that like kept coming to me when I first started making these poems. I began writing these poems. I'd sort of been thinking about a lot of these things and working on these things for like almost like I've been doing it for almost 10 years, but the real day that this book started, like the day I went and I sat down and wrote the first poem, which was Hammond B3 organ cistern, and then later in the day I wrote Homecoming alien vessel, this poem.
What a day.
It was a remarkable day, and it was the day that I woke up in the morning and I was told that my teacher, Lucy Brock-Broido, had died. And I woke up, Mark Wunderlich, my friend, texted. I knew Lucy was dying, and I was supposed to go to AWP that day, which is like this conference. And I turned over to my partner, Angeline, and I said, I don't want to go to AWP today. I want to go down into our like not heated, very cold garage, and I just want to like write for 5 days. Like I just want to write. There was something about that. There was something about I just wanted to like harness like how I felt, but also the gift that she gave me, which was talking constantly about the idea of like this sort of energetic place where poems lived. And I was like, I want to go. And I did. I went. I have to admit, I wrote one poem that is not in the book that was kind of like this sort of opening of a kind of gate. And I hadn't written for a really long time. I go through long periods like Lucy without writing. And then I wrote Hammond B. Through Organ Cistern. And then I wrote this other poem. And I started thinking about, as I was writing, this idea that when I was little, I think it was like in church, but just like in general, that I often thought of myself as like having this kind of light inside me. And I'm sure that was something I had heard from my grandmother because of religious tradition. And but I was a kid who was pretty like, there was just a lot going on with me. My mom was very ill. There was a lot like I didn't know how to talk about. I felt like a little alien a lot of the time, like weighted in a world that I didn't really understand, like how to live in or like make sense of. And I say alien really because like when I would see things, did anybody else have this experience? Like when I would see things about like Martians and stuff, like I would literally be like, I think that's me. And like often those you would see like them becoming light like that. So there were these sort of early things about like what it was to be a kind of like alien vessel that was full of light. My grandmother talking about a kind of like light that beings had inside of them, like no matter kind of what else was going on. But then I also began to think about like I want to say this articulately. My horoscope today says that I need to be very careful about what I say. Okay, Channy, like I'm here. So I'm really like trying to like. But it's true. Like I also was thinking a lot about like both how like proud I was supposed to be growing up of my skin and my skin color. How much power like I got because of my skin, but also like how much terror I felt in my skin, like how much like I will never stop feeling like I used to go walking on my road, Beckley Road, and I remember these kids from school used to like drive, and like one day, there's probably also people in this room who have felt this, like I didn't have my bow tie yet. I was not resplendent yet, but I did like present in a way that they understood as different. And like I just remember like them driving and like all of a sudden just throwing this bottle of like all this liquid, which was clearly like they'd gone to like I'm sure they had gone to the bathroom in it and stuff like that, and me like walking home by myself and feeling like so ashamed. Like I felt ashamed. Like, are you kidding me? But I did. That was also my skin was covered with that. And I remember like so there was something also about like I was someone who did like constantly want to get out of my body and just like let this thing inside me like just like be free. Does that make sense? Is that? But again, like this balance, right? That the light, yes, we also say, I've got a light inside me. And I can say I've got a light inside me and I'd like to let go of my skin, but also like, no matter how much light inside me I have, like the skin that I have and the permissions it gives me and the privileges it gives me also have a tremendous history of damage and wreck. Is this making sense? Like sometimes I go on and on.
No,
and
it's
so
making a lot of sense.
So one of the things about the light body in this manuscript and in something I think about is like, what is it to like want to be free of something, but in wanting to be free of something, like you can sometimes let go of your responsibility to really look at yourself. Like, yeah, maybe I'm full of light, but like, I also need to like keep looking. And so the light body like kind of moves all through this text as both a thing of hope, but also like you can get so deep in your own light that you don't like look at the fact that like you still have a lot of looking at yourself to, or I do. I shouldn't speak to anyone in here, but me, I am not finished. Like I have a lot of reckoning to do still.
You're just so fucking smart. Am I allowed to say the F word? Sorry. You're just really smart.
Someday may you all live to have Leila say, "You're so fucking smart." Like, look at you.
Wow. Oh, man. Okay. I'm sorry. My brain is. Are you all feeling this? My brain is doing a lot of things
I
right
always
now.
like
So
say,
I'm
like, it's nice to have our brains like lubricated.
yeah.
Like, can you all do this? You don't have to, but if you, yeah, right? Oh,
Matt, I'm not seeing you do it.
lubricated.
I have the power.
Okay. Now we're ready. I did walk across. I did crawl across this stage like a fox. There's no end to what I'll do with Smith.
We're in control
Yeah.
of this stage, at least.
Yeah.
So, thinking about community, I wanted to think about, because this book is doing so much. I thought the way that you talk about it, the way that even it exists, you know, the acknowledgments are the most generous acknowledgments I think I've ever read.
Do you like? See, no one has really seen the acknowledgments yet, and I'm so scared of them. But
Oh,
I
they're
really
beautiful.
wanted to do it.
They're beautiful. Really?
Or
really?
even wilder. Like I really like went like. But I'm so glad you feel that. Maybe you'll if you get the book, or you don't even have to. Like you could just like look at the back of the book. But like, yeah. Sorry.
It's amazing. Like in this book, right? So there's poems written to friends. The acknowledgments are, you know, just a thing in themselves. It feels very intentional, and acknowledgments can be very stiff and forced, and that didn't feel that way whatsoever. So, you know, it's usually not very interesting reading, and I thought yours was. And you also mentioned that it took 10 years, as you said, to write this book, and that your community helped make it possible. But writing is often assumed to be a vocation requiring isolation. We're in the land of Dickinson, whose mythology involves, I think, her solitariness, or at least the ways we talk about it. And we also live in, I wasn't sure if I would call it a new, but an economy as writers, artists, and makers that can feel like one of scarcity. You name moments when you yourself have wanted to take the food off of other people's plates. And I love that honesty because it is coming from someone I know to be beyond generous. So it reminds me that I too can have moments like these and still ultimately be a force for good, which is what I strive for. So I wanted to know a little bit, if you might feel comfortable talking about the role of literary community and literary friendship, and perhaps its tensions and rewards, especially I think in this economy in which we are feeling very fearful and also very lonely.
Yeah. I really believe in neighbors. Like I really do. And part of it is like the neighborhood I live in Old East Durham. Like we have wonderful neighbors. We live in a neighborhood also that is it's a real place. Like there's a lot of suffering and there's a lot of violence, and part of that is because we live in a part of the city that has been really ignored by the government and has the city government, and where there are not as many resources, and it is neighbors who get each other through. And that has always been the case when I grew up with my grandparents and other places I've been, you know, like it's. And poetry is like that too. Like as much as anything, like I'm here with all of you, but like you're also my like neighbors. Gary and Landon are my neighbors. Like here they are. And it's really, I think that because of capitalism, bleh, but I do think because of, and let's say like late stage capitalism, predatory capitalism, I do think that we can also be led to forget that we are like neighbors to each other. You and I are neighbors at a press as much as we're like we're friends, we're neighbors in the world. We're also like press neighbors. Tiana and I are neighbors on the poetry long list for the National Book Award. Patricia Smith, who's coming later this term, is our neighbor on that list. If I think about that, then I don't have to get in the machine of starting to think about like beating people for something, right? Or taking like, I'm gonna win. That's inside me. Like I'm, like I'm all kinds, I have all kinds of hungry ghosts like living inside me. And I have lots of holes that just will never be filled. And so I think that one of the things that I try and think about in the poetry world, and I try to behave this way, and I make mistakes all the time, is how can I think about the people around me, the poets around me, as like neighbors, and how would I treat my neighbor? Like, even more than my friend, because like, my friend, like, I know you, we go to the movies, like, I care about you because like we've been friends for a long time, but like I do care, like, but if you're my neighbor, I also care about you, and this is to me so important right now. And people hear it, but it's just true. Like, we are not free until everyone is free. We are not fed until everyone is fed. We do not sleep at night until everybody can sleep at night. And that's true of our neighbors. If we're just like a giant neighborhood, we just like, come on, like we can do this thing together. And I feel that way about the poetry world, because I will say that the poetry world can be an astonishingly generous place, but it can be a very hard place. And it is a place where, here's the moment where I lose the National Book Award. Let's like wait for it. Don't worry, I already lost it. But it's just like, if we live in a system where the majority of ways that poets like are going to get kind of real money, which means real time doing poetry, and those things are all bound up in prizes and fellowships and like these kinds of things, and there are plenty of poets who have different economies. C.A. Conrad is here and is, to me, like, has been a shining example my whole life as a poet, like how to just live with great integrity in the world, like in terms of finding other kinds of economies. The great poet Matthias Valina is someone also who matters a lot to me, the poet Destiny Hempel, lots of people. But as long as like many poets rely on these kinds of systems to like be able to get our dental work done and stuff like that, which we just have to, that is a system in which like it's very easy for us to forget we're neighbors, because like we're scared and we're hungry and we're working too hard. And so I think that one of the things I try and do is like just always think, my grandmother used to say this thing, like, I lived in a small town with my grandparents when I was little. I would walk to the post office. I was supposed to like say hello to every single person I saw, like in the post office. And if I did not, and when I got back, my grandmother would be standing there and she'd be like, so-and-so called. They said you must not be feeling well. And like, there are people who might be like, well, I shouldn't have to say hi to people like I don't want to say hi to. Okay, like I understand that. But it's also true that like I always think about, I live my life as if my grandmother is going to be waiting, which she will be someday.
Yeah.
She's waiting. And I also think about this fact, I'm going on too long, but I do also think about this fact because I think about the poetry world too. When my grandmother collapsed and she was on the floor of her bathroom, the gentleman who picked her up, who came in, the paramedics who picked her up off the floor, this was a small town, this was a volunteer fire department, they were all the guys who cut her trees. And they all, my grandfather would say, they all knew her. They all knew Mrs. Calvocoressi, and they talked to her, and she was like barely conscious, but like they were her neighbors. They knew her, and they knew her, and maybe they weren't close friends of hers, but like they cared about her. And I always think like, how many different roles can I have in any poet's life, whether or not they know me, so that like when I come and pick them up, if I can, they know it's someone who really knows them or cares about them.
I love that. I love that knowledge and care don't need to be intertwined, that you can care for someone without having to know them well. Like that's such a, I feel like, especially in these times, we feel like we must be in certain camps in which we know everything about somebody before we can extend care and generosity toward them.
I think it's true. I also think it's important to know, and this is something poetry does, like poetry teaches us discernment. So like I also know who does not love me. And poems help me understand who does not want me to stay alive. And like I really know that person, you know? That's also important.
Yeah, because you have to
But
care
like
for
there's
yourself.
no one I won't, there's like the people who are full of love I will protect forever. I mean in this body, so I'll do my best.
It's beautiful. Should we open?
Should we
What do
take
you
some
think?
questions from the crowd?
What's
I
your
just
thought?
want to like look around and see everyone. Who's got questions? Anybody?
If not, I have more. But I'm not going to be greedy.
Oh, there are. We can have, and you know, we're here for 20 nights.
Yeah, that's what I heard. Then we're watching Dickinson.
Oh my gosh, if only.
Hi there. My name is Sam. My pronouns are he, they.
Hi, Sam. I'm Gabby.
I am deeply inspired by like the construction of these radical queer communities that center love, especially within the world of poetry, but also outside of it. I'm curious if that sort of construction of community focus of love informs your form at all in the poetry in terms of like the actual form of the poems.
Oh, that was so good. We can say it again. Like it was so good.
Yeah, I'll give the Spark Notes version.
Oh, so this is a room full of my teachers. Yeah.
Does the construction of these radical queer communities inform the actual form of your poems?
Yeah, I think so. Oh, that's such a good question. Thank you, Sam. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and I think that it helps me think about poem as vessel, right? Like not that form as also like I like to think of the poem as a vessel. I really wanted these poems to have like I never had poems that went down the middle of the page before. I never had poems that kind of really started on that right margin. And I did want to think like, oh, like how could I just open the body and the vessel of the poem even more to like maybe welcome more readers, but also like open to my own potential of like what I could help a reader's eyes do, what lineages I could be part of. Could I, you know, thinking about Brian Tier, thinking about Audre Lorde, thinking about C.A. Conrad, thinking about like all these poets who meant so much to me. Could I also like be in a lineage of expansion, queer expansion? What's the page? What's the field, right? How can we like open it up? I also just like wanted the poems to be a party. Like you know what I mean? Like I just wanted the poems to be a party. And I don't know if they feel like that to other people, but to me it's like, oh my God, the voice inside my head just said Muppet Show. But yeah, fine. I've lost the National Book Award already.
Oh,
Why
what a
not
fantastic
say,
blurb.
Like, yeah, like Muppet Show. You know, like, but you know what I mean? Like I just want them to be resplendent. Does that make sense, Sam?
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Should get Muppets to read your book.
Oh my God, if the Muppets would read my book, that'd be it for me. Like if I could have like Elmo or like Animal read my book, oh. There's a hand up here. Oh wait, okay, people are gonna find. But
Hello.
oh wait,
Over
I
here.
have a visual.
No, it's okay. Hand up.
Oh, hi, I'm Gabby.
Hi, I'm Amelia.
Hello.
I'd like to think of myself as maybe a poet because I write sometimes.
Yeah.
But I try and, when I write, it's easy to write about the things that happen to me
Yeah.
in negative ways. But when I read it out loud, it's so difficult
Yeah.
to keep my composure.
Yeah.
How do you do that?
How do I keep composure when I read aloud? Or also when I'm writing,
I like writing about my experience. I've had many negative experiences in my life.
Yeah.
And the way you just talk about things, you just talk about it like it's
Yeah.
normal.
Yeah. We could decide whether that's healthy or not. You know, like I will say though, I was someone who one thing my therapist said to me at one point when I had a nervous breakdown in 2004, and it was a time when I really like kind of so much of the trauma I had lived through just came up to meet me, you know. And I would go in the therapist's office and I would either lie literally like on the couch crying uncontrollably, or I would talk about my past like I was reading the news, you know, like. And she said it to me one day. She said, you know, you talk about this stuff like you're reading a newspaper with no judgment. It's great to have a Jungian analyst who's a Buddhist. Like, but I really so that was a period of my life where I think like that kind of just listing of things, I had no connection to it. Like but now, when I talk about stuff in my poems, when I like talk about my experience of suicidal ideation, or I talk about being bullied or losing people, I think that what I have learned for myself, and this is only true for myself, is like one of the things that came out of that time when I really broke down is I began to meditate and I began to really breathe. I realized I hadn't breathed in my whole life, like really and truly, like I was always, you know. And as I started to like breathe when I told my story, like that was a really hard thing for me to do, and it is still sometimes. I also began to understand in my poems like a little bit like how sentences worked in a way I never had. Like I began to understand like, oh, this is how I sound. There are still things I cannot talk about, and I don't in poem. Like I'm just not ready to go there. But for me, when I come up here and I talk to everyone, my commitment that I have made to myself, and I want to say this again and again, like it's just me. Like nobody else has to do this. Like I have decided that the most radical thing I can do for myself, and also the thing that kind of feels both terrifying to me and really important, is just to be open. And to just say as much of what I can say about what happened out loud, maybe because someone else has felt that and felt they couldn't talk about it, but also because like, I don't have this is just me again, like I don't have anything to be ashamed of. And I spent so much of my life feeling ashamed for like my pain, you know, and like things that I felt. And I like to kind of like open and see what happens if I like breathe with everyone together. I also will say that when it comes to things like suicide, I have said this before, but like, yeah, there was the closet of being a queer person and a lesbian, but the deepest closet I was ever in was my mother was not talking about my mother's mental illness and my mother's suicide. That was like a deep, deep closet for me. And I find often that when I go places and I talk about my own feelings and my own stuff around that is a space of neighborliness, like for me, like deep neighborliness that feels important, because I have a lot of people who come to me and say like, I just never have been able to talk to about it even now. And so yeah, but some days I can't. Like there are certain poems I read tonight for you all that I don't read for other people. I also read, like when I feel safe, I read some poems, but there are some places I'll go like, I'm not going to read certain poems. Like you all welcome me, and that feels powerful. Thank you for that question. Thank you. I think you're a poet.
Okay. Okay. I'm gonna go. Yeah. And we only have time for a few more.
Okay. Yeah. True.
Hi there.
Hi, I'm Gabby.
I'm Sivia, and I'm
Hi.
so happy to be here. I've been reading you and studying your poems and just being, you know, how Emily Dickinson says, my head blown open sort of thing. So it's been awesome. And I happened to discover your poems just as my dearest poetry friend and my dearest friend was dying, literally. And I didn't even get to tell her how much I love your poems. So I'm hoping the ghosts are here today so
Yeah.
she can experience this. But my question is about form. And Sam already asked a question about form, and then our friend up front asked a friend about a question about the emotion. And I'm so fascinated by how your poems have a structure and a form, and then the books have a structure and a form. And within the book, different sections have a structure and a form. And then there are these repeating motifs, and I'm just so curious how you do that.
Thank you. It means a lot to me. I work at that. I would say that really that comes from in a lot of ways. Like it really does come that Jesse Norman poem. Like I grew up in a household too. My father listened to a lot of like long form jazz, like like a lot of long form jazz. My grandfather listened to a ton of opera. I spent a lot of time when I was little listening to music in which stories were being told in languages I didn't understand, but like I could understand the feeling of it. Like that's totally true. I would say to my grandfather, like, what's happening? And he'd be like, everybody's dead but the ushers. Or like my dad and I would be driving in his like Golf, and like we would be like I'd be listening to something with him, and I just like would be like, what's going on? And he'd like kind of explain to me. I think that was when I really did become interested, and I am in like not so much like a project book. Sometimes people say that phrase, but like I'm interested in long form making. Like I'm interested in I'm really I don't want to say I'm surprised, but things come back again and again in life, and phrases come back again and again in life. And so at some point, like with my last book, I just started to think like, why wouldn't I do that in poems? Like not just like repeat, oh, sometimes Gabby has a porcupine, like it's all over the place. Great. But like sometimes actually like I'm not done with a phrase yet. Like, or I'm not done with, like I'm not done thinking about things. And so I think that it's that kind of opera motif. It is my relationship. I played saxophone for a long time. You're also someone where things come back to you. Like, can you talk about that a little?
I'm very obsessive. I once asked my dad if he were a poet, what image does he think might haunt him or metaphor? And he said the sea, which is also one that I think haunts me. I think I think like a kaleidoscope maybe, where it's like all the bits are in there, but I keep turning and turning and turning to see what they look like when they're kind of collapsing against each other a little differently. I know sometimes there's, I think, criticism around like, oh, well, you've already said that, you already used that image, that thing kind of keeps coming up. But I'm not done with it, It's like I need to see it from all sides, and I need to see it next to all the other things that I need to see from all sides. And so I'm someone who likes, I think, to spend a lot of time with an image or a word, and even if that means the book's long, I'm going to let the book be long, which is what happened with this most recent one. Thank you. I felt it felt bold to assert that I wanted to have a long book, and I did it.
Let's all assert we want to have long books. Can I also just like go back, because I think this question about emotion was so important, and that is also something that I think is really true in your work. Would you answer that a little?
Oh wow.
Like, how do you do it? How do you?
I think some of it's time. I think there's a big distance between when I write something and when I share it. That was something that Joy Harjo, who's one of my teachers, taught me early, a decade ago, actually, where I was trying to write something that was very painful for me, and she advised that I stick it in a drawer and check in on it every 6 months. And if it still hurt me, if I could feel my heart sort of racing, if I felt the heat come to my face, then I wasn't ready to deal with it yet, and put it away, and then I could come back to it again. And I did that for years, and then I was able to look at it after about 5 years. And so I feel that way about sharing poems too. If I feel like that sick to my stomach feel, if I feel the heat, I know where trauma activates in my body, and so if I'm feeling that, then I know I'm not ready. to do the work, I think, of carrying the poem into the world, which is different than writing it. I allow myself to have time, and there's certain things too. I thought that was so accurate about. There's certain poems I won't ever read in front of people, even though they exist in the book. And there's been things where I've said that I wouldn't talk about them, even though they exist in a book, because that's the most I want to say at that point. And there's absolutely poems that I don't think I will write, maybe ever in my life. So I think I create boundaries between each sort of stage. And sometimes I do, like I cried up on this stage before. I cried. I think last time I read from my chapbook Figment, which is all about my miscarriages. And it was emotional for me. And so I cried. And now I'm here with my daughter, which feels very reclamatory and healing. So I think it's okay to cry. I cried just now when you were reading. I did. Miss you.
I almost cried.
I think it's good to cry. I think it's okay. But I think also it's okay to keep some parts of your emotional light body, maybe, only in contexts where you trust people.
I know we have so many more questions and we could listen to you both all night, but in the interest of time and the interest of giving people a chance to have you sign books, I want to, Leila, thank you for the beautiful introduction and all those incredible questions in this dialogue. And then I also want to thank our inaugural Mountain Day poet, Gabrielle Calvocoressi. Thank you all so much for coming. Thank you for joining us online. Both Leila and Gabby will be right here signing books. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful night.